Good evening, my creepy crawlies, and welcome to the first episode ever of Ice Cream Queens. How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Okay.
Brilliant, thank you.
Good.
Excited to be here. Yeah.
Very.
So, Ice Cream Queens is our favorite stop for ghoulies who want a little bit of a late night bit of horror and gothic pop culture fun.
We are your horror hottie hostesses. We have D'Elle Memphis over. There we go. That way. We have Kat Malone. I'm trying to figure out which way to point because things are backwards. We have Kat Malone down here.
Hi.
And diagonal. Can I do it? Yes, I can. We have Magda Miller.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, and I'm Lauren.
Yay!
Yay!
And tonight I want to welcome our special guest. It's Kelly from Phoenix Sisters Cosplay. So hello, Kelly.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm broadcasting live from my basement, aka my bunny bedroom, with
Awesome.
guests, Ginny and Hermione.
Oh,
I have a theory. It could be bunnies.
Thank you. I was hoping someone would sing that tonight.
perfect. That just made the night complete right there.
I can go home now.
All right. So what is everyone eating? We are the ice cream queens. It's kind of like our little thing there. So what ice creams do we have going?
There you go.
Yeah.
It's
What-
orange.
It's orange.
It's orange.
Ooh.
How
Oh,
about you,
but there's
Kat?
there's
I've got creme brulee and whipped cream.
I have blood orange swirl.
Nice. Kelly?
Okay.
Sounds good.
I've got one of those prepackaged cones with, I already ate the nuts off the top, but
I have vanilla because ice cream is the only thing I like vanilla in my life.
ooh.
we'll go there. So
A quick
everybody
reminder.
remember?
I meant to
sorry?
say this a moment ago. I apologize. A quick reminder that this show is live, so we encourage and welcome any questions, so bring them on.
Please do. Please do. So, okay. So last week was Easter. Everybody have fun during Easter. Get a lot of fun, cool stuff. Cool kids, like cool items for the kiddies and everything.
Lots of chocolate.
Much
Lots
chocolate.
of chocolate.
So much chocolate.
Okay, so anybody who knows me knows that I absolutely love anything that's vintage. But you know, there are some things, retro and vintage, that just do not need to exist. And creepy ass Easter bunny pictures are it. I think we oh my
Those
God.
poor children.
Who in the world tortures their children by taking them to see a giant, horrifying rabbit? Oh my gosh. One of them was wearing long johns. It wasn't even a rabbit costume. That's pretty much pedophilia, isn't it?
It's like a furry.
The third from the last one reminded me of like the Cats makeup from the Broadway show Cats.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Okay,
All right, so go ahead.
no, go. Yeah, please go ahead. I mean,
Okay. we're going to talk about bunnies. We're going to talk about horror. One of the things that we did do this last few weeks is we watched quite a few bunny horror movies. And so we have a few of those that we wanted to kind of discuss. I believe Night of the Lupus is some of y'all. I didn't watch that one. So whoever watched that, take it.
I watched Night of the Lepus, and that was okay. First of all, whoever thought you could take a fluffy bunny rabbit, make it giant, and put it in a town and show it attacking people? I mean, it was awful. It was glorious. It was awful. I think this was like a 1970s movie.
Like
so it's like, yeah. So it's like every other giant animal, giant creature has already been experimented with. There's movies about. So yeah, let's make it bunnies, fluffy little bunnies.
Did anyone else watch that one? No? All right.
I
Moving
saw
on.
it quite some time ago. Like a long time ago. I think we watched it with my
Actually, Magda,
uncles.
didn't you tell me there's a book?
Oh, yes, there's actually a book about it. It's The Night of the Angry Rabbit. I know.
Even
That's a bedtime story right
The
there.
Night of the Angry Rabbit. And the book is a bit more in depth and a bit more psychological and less horror movie. They focus more on it being a more of a monster flick in the movie, and it's more of a psychological. I'm not sure what the bunny represents, but I'm sure it's something to do with someone's psyche.
We also wanted to kind of bring up Donnie Darko.
oh my god!
I'm gonna say, okay, I watched it for the first time this weekend, and I got my second dose vaccination this weekend, and the fever dreams I had after watching it.
I think I'm pretty much living in a fever dream at this point. But yes. That was an acid trip of a movie. That was a great. And there was a second. There was a. Has anybody watched S. Darko?
No. Why does there need to be a second?
It's about his sister.
Yes.
No, it's interesting in my opinion. Definitely not as terrifying.
No.
All I could think the entire time I was watching Donnie Darko, the first time I saw it, was stop taunting the bunny.
We also had the Twilight Zone movie, the scene with Uncle Watt in the magician's hat. I haven't seen that one. Did anyone watch that?
Traumatized his childhood over that one. Over that one.
That was the most hideous creation. That had to spin off of somebody's nightmare. That's one of those Easter bunny pictures we just saw. I mean, that thing is hideous.
There is.
I want to cuddle that at night. All right. So we also have Bunny Man, which a few of us watched. And if this thing was not like straight up Quentin Tarantino, like ripped out of that, I don't know another way to explain it. D'Elle?
Well, honestly, we watched the Grindhouse edition, which means that somebody went back and re-edited it to add in not only the stock footage, I mean, the map scene alone of them just like traveling. This was the worst. It was the worst and the best movie I have ever seen. It was so majestic, but not at all what I was expecting. If you have not seen Bunny Man, I recommend it. Please go watch it. Comment what you thought of it. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun.
The random just scene transitions, like here's the storyline, and then now here's a commercial that has absolutely nothing to do with the movie. All right, now back to our movie. And then suddenly they're speaking a different language that they completely made up. Oh, back to English. It was insane.
I have never seen anything quite. I don't even think Tarantino. Oh, Wilson Stewart. It was a train wreck in slow motion, and I couldn't turn away. Yes, I totally agree. Oh my gosh. Just when you're thinking, I need to turn this off, all of a sudden there's an education about endangered species in animals. Who knew?
Or a sad song singing about the guy who was just ran over by a car. Random musical number.
As you do. As you do.
So I did watch a couple more in my spare time. I watched Bunny the Killer Thing, which I'm going to try and explain as PG-13 as possible, because the other two movies, 3 actually, that I watched were very not kid-friendly. The premise behind Bunny the Killer Thing is they kidnapped this guy, injected him with bunny serum, and he turned into a were-bunny. And he's attacking these people through this scene, but he's obsessed with what most people think rabbits do all of the time. And so he runs into places and just starts attacking females or anything that may look slightly female in shape. And screams the worst things. He breaks down doors. I don't know if I can say the word, but he screams and breaks down doors and just goes, "Pussy!" And it's hilarious.
We're sorry. We apologize now.
I'm sorry. I don't know if I can say that one, but it's
Well,
a cat.
we did.
I'm talking about a cat. The second one I watched. The second one I watched was Beaster Day, which I swear they just made as an excuse to show topless women. So that was pretty much the premise of that one. Another one that there's a movie called Holidays where it's a bunch of short films. And one of them was Easter, where they had Bunny Easter Jesus, which was really weirdly creepy. Like baby chicks would come out of the holes in his hands. And that one was really out there. So yeah, those are what I watched.
I actually just kind of gravitated to more of the classics. I watched Night at the Lepus. I watched Donnie Darko. Actually, I started watching that with my teenage daughter, which it wasn't too bad. I mean, it wasn't something that I would say steer clear from with your teenage kids. But I also watched Watership Down again. And I know that's not really horror, but if you think about who it was marketed to, and I mean, I don't know if you can read the comment on the top. It's something along the lines of, you'll have to run for your life and they'll try to kill you, but first they have to catch you. This was marketed towards children, and it was very, very gory. But to be a cartoon, but it was lovely. So
yeah, another one that we've got to bring up if we're going to talk about bunny horror is Monty Python and the Holy Grail, the evil bunny with sharp pointy teeth. That's just forever ingrained in like everyone's brain who's ever seen that movie.
It's just an evil bunny. It's just a
look at the bones.
The bones, yeah.
He's got horrid, sharp, pointy teeth.
I think the only other one I may have seen was the scene in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. The like creepy Easter bunny chase scene from his nightmares. That one was.
Was that Ted's nightmare? He was in hell and having a nightmare about seeing the Easter bunny. Does that sound about right?
I think so. I think
it was his biggest phobia was the Easter bunny.
Which we actually learned what the word for the phobia of rabbits is, and I wrote it down. I have notes. Leporophobia. So
Leporophobia.
That one, yes.
Somewhere along, I have the pop-up books of phobia, and it has leporophobia in it. Big giant bunny pops out.
That sounds fun.
You know, it's kind of one of those things that a lot of people were kind of questioning. Why in the world did we pick bunny horror as the first episode? And when I started looking, I mean, I think we threw it out there just because it coincides with Easter and we have another topic coming up that's going to kind of coincide with Easter too. But when I started, we started looking at how many bunny rabbit related horror movies there are. It was insane. I mean, not only do you have Night of the Lepus, Donnie Darko, S. Darko, the bit from Twilight Zone, Bunny Man, The Night Before Easter, Tormented, Rabbits, Bunny Massacre 2 and 3, Easter Bunny Bloodbath, Peter Rottentail, Easter Bunny Kill Kill, Bunny the Killer Thing, Serial Rabbit 3. I don't know where number 2 is. Is there a Serial Rabbit 2? I don't know. Cottontail, which is a Japanese film, which I'm dying to watch. Easter Casket, Beaster Day, which you mentioned, Lauren, and Here Comes Peter Cottontail and Sexy Beast. Oh, who knew? Who knew?
There were so many. So many.
Why are people so scared of bunnies? They're so cute.
I don't know. I have to think it has something to do with the fact that Easter bunny photos are so horrific. I mean, those characters are horrifying. And most of the characters that we see in these Easter bunny movies, in these bunny movies, look like that.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
The vast majority of children that you see sitting on laps of these Easter bunnies look terrified, absolutely terrified about to wet themselves.
Yeah.
I had a Fiona bunny once.
It makes you wonder when they started that trend of sitting in the Easter bunny's lap like Santa Claus.
Oh my God.
You know what? I welcome
I don't know when that
terrifying bunny overlords.
Come take me away.
Worse job than we're doing ourselves as humans. Like
our terrifying fluffy lords.
Yep.
But that also leads us to another area that I think, pardon the pun, Lauren totally went down a rabbit hole on this one. But there are so many YouTube bunny horror short films. Who would have saw that coming?
So many. I think I sent 10 or 11 out to the group just as like, hey guys, here's a bunch of short films, and I couldn't stop sending them. I'm so sorry for spamming with bunny horror short films. I don't know if y'all watched any of them. Some of them were really good though. Timothy, so spoiler alert, we're going to talk about him. Timothy was insane. It was this little kid and his bunny show that he would watch on TV, and then the babysitter gets murdered and all these other things, and then at the end it's just like him sitting on the couch. That last scene of the kid sitting on the couch and turning and looking at the bunny and then turn it back forward, and the bunny's just it was so good. There's a few more I wanted to hit talking about. Silly Kids Tricks Are for Rabbits was really out there. The rabbit from the trick cereal box lost it, and he wanted his tricks, y'all, and he would go to any means to
that
get
one
those
was
tricks.
Wrong. Oh my God, that one was so wrong.
At one point, trigger warning, literally. At one point, he shoots someone in the head, and tricks come out the back of their head. So that one was out there. Let's see here. What are some really, really good ones? The Man in the Rabbit Mask, I thought was so wonderful.
That's a creepy cover too.
It's a creepy cover. It was short. It was good though.
Did we watch that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you and I, we watched that last night, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, that one was glorious. That was great.
Yes, it was enchanting in the way that you wanted to know what happened to these kids. Like, there's so many different ways it could go with the whole, like, they say the little thing over the candle, and it's kind of like, you know how you would do the Candyman thing in the mirror as a kid, like that, but it was like one of those rhymes, and you didn't know what was going to happen, and then the dude came out of nowhere with that creepy mask, and he's slowly, like, changing form and getting creepier as you look at him. So well done. I think there was one more I wanted to hit, Nightmares, which I'm just gonna. D'Elle, do you want to take this one?
Nope. You got this one.
Okay, so Nightmares, the entire premise behind it, and I think it was only like a 2-minute, maybe less than, short film. And it's this person talking about, oh, and I have these nightmares, and for some reason I'm a little girl. I don't know why I'm a little girl, and I'm running through the town, and this giant bunny is chasing me. And then you hear someone else talking to him like, well, has the bunny ever caught you? And they're like, no, but I don't know what's going to happen when the bunny does. And at the end, the bunny finally reaches this little girl and it catches her, and the dog wakes up because it was a dog having a dream.
It was really cute.
That's precious.
It was cute and wrong all at the same time. Poor puppy. Poor puppy.
Well, it makes me wonder what dogs dream about anyway. For somebody to put it in a dog's perspective, every time I see my dog on the floor kicking and carrying
Chasing
on, having
something.
a nightmare.
Maybe they're not chasing. Maybe they're being chased.
That's true. Or
I know
having
my
a dream
dog-
about us.
My dog has very active dreams. He really does. And he usually barks and carries on. So I can imagine he's chasing a bunny or a squirrel and leaving it at the back porch for me to shovel over the fence. Not that actually happened. So, yeah.
So speaking of bunny horror and different films and shorts and all of that, I had no idea how many video games were out there that featured bunny horror. The amount
one
was
of those
insane.
things that you don't think about. It's not something you think, oh, well, of course, bunny horror. That's perfect. But startlingly enough, there are a shocking number of bunny-based games. One that most people usually think of is Five Nights at Freddy's. At least two of the main characters are in fact just evil bunnies or possessed bunnies, depending upon how you look at it. I mean, they've got Bonnie, who's the slightly less creepy of the ones, and then you've got Springtrap, which is a nightmare. He's adorable as a plush, but as a walking animatronic evil thing that's come out of the Satan's Chuck E. Cheese. He's covered in wires that are hanging out, and he's got this jaw that snaps like something out of Jigsaw, and it's just a terrifying concept. And not to mention the whole storyline of the game is that you're being chased by these horrible animatronics out of something like Showbiz Pizza or Chuck E. Cheese. But bunnies, why'd they have to make it bunnies? It's just, of course, bunnies. But there's others. There's Mr. Hop's Playhouse. This is another one that I've played before. It's very jump scares. It's a side scroller, so it seems, this is easy, this is simple, I can do this one. Not so much. He has a tendency to pop out of nowhere, and there's much hiding and crouching and going back and doing it again, and mostly just jumping out of your skin. Several of them I'd not played, but I think you have, Lauren.
I watched about 11 different playthroughs of video games. Yeah. You were right. The Mr. Hop's Playhouse was one of my favorites. That one just... I loved that it was old school side scroller. It just seemed so fun in that aspect. And then the whole, you have to be quiet and you have to like jump over the toys and you can't make a sound because they'll get you. That was really, really fun. And then on the Five Nights at Freddy's, I don't know if you've heard the song Bad Rabbit. I was just trying to look for a playthrough of the game and I came across a music video called Bad Rabbit and it was so good. That song is going to be like ingrained in my brain forever now. So if you have the time, go look up Bad Rabbit Five Nights at Freddy's. It was really good.
The amount of lore that has sprung up around Five Nights at Freddy's could be a whole other show entirely.
It really could. My kids were obsessed with that for a really long time.
Mine is
Mine too.
So there were a few other ones that I really wanted to bring up. I have a bunch. I won't talk about all of them. Let's see here. Sugar the Evil Rabbit sounds like it would be I think it was supposed to be like a chocolate bunny. He was very smooth, and he was a brown rabbit chasing you. And it had the same concept if you can't make a sound, because he will find you. Out of all of the games, this little sugar candy rabbit was the one that made me jump the absolute most, because he would turn around. It was right there. And I was just like, ah! That one looked really fun. I would really want to play it. The other one that really caught my attention was Parsnip, which was the most little happy, cartoony, cute rabbit game. Yep. And it's about this happy little rabbit. He just wants to bake a cake for his friends so he can give everyone cake, because he eats cake every day. And the weird little things that happen behind him or the other characters with random knives around, or like one of them hinting that they eat the other ones, or out of nowhere, like this big red screen would pop up and it would sound like some Edgar Allan Poe kind of things. And this guy would come in, he would be like, and what he didn't know was that the rabbit, and it was really insane because it's happy and so cute. And depending on how you play, you kind of accidentally murder everyone with cake.
Oh,
so
believe it or not,
what a way to die.
Parsnip is part of a series of various genre games that are animated like that, simple, almost 2D animation, almost hand-drawn, that look precious and sweet, and you think, oh, this is lovely, it's going to be adorable. And then in the background, things are dying and weapons are being shown, and you'll find corpses everywhere. There's this one, Parsnip. There's also another one, though not a bunny one, that's called Little Misfortune, which is just as dark. And depending upon how you choose, you either help or hinder, you kill accidentally, people die in the background, all while just sort of happily bouncing along, and there's lots of glitter being thrown up in the air and pretty little music and such, and everyone's dying.
My youngest child was a huge fan. Actually, both of my kids were a huge fan of Gumball. And whenever I see the artwork for Parsnip, that's what I see, is I see Gumball.
It is very much so.
Yeah, right there.
That precious sort of cute little hand-drawn looking sort of thing.
Yeah. And it was point and click too. So it wasn't like you would just click on something and it would go over and tell you what's happening. That was fun too.
So we have a lot of comments. Can we go ahead and let's just kind of run through some of the comments before we kind of get to the wrong. So Watership Down thought that was a kid's book. Okay, it was not a kid's book. It wasn't children oriented at all. I mean, it was animated. There's so many animated things that are not intended for children, and I honestly think that Watership Down is one of those. Not at all social commentary. Very good book. I agree. I actually just finished reading it. We had a bunny pet as a child that was mean as a snake. Okay, we're going to go to Kelly with that. I didn't realize bunnies are mean.
Not always. Bunnies are just like any other animal where they all have their own personalities.
I can see that.
Has anyone else had a bunny as a pet? Any of our other ladies had a bunny as a pet?
I want one. I
had a Netherlander dwarf rabbit as a child, and she was sweet as sugar. When I was little, I had a Netherlander dwarf rabbit, and she was just as lovely as she could be. Her name was Smokey.
Now, Kelly, you have several rabbits, and you've had even more. So you're pretty much the rabbit expert in this room.
Yes. Yep. So I have 2 right now. And prior to that, I had 1. So I had a mini Rex before, and right now I have 2 Californians. And rabbits make wonderful pets, but like any animal, their personalities vary, and they're exotic pets. And I don't know how deep you want me to get into husbandry. I'll spare you guys the full lecture, but rabbits are very very delicate animals and they're prey animals. So they can be hard. It can be hard to earn them. So it can be really hard to earn their trust and just make them feel safe. So like my first rabbit was with human beings from the time she was a baby, but these the two that I have were in the shelter until we adopted them. So they were a little traumatized. We adopted them when they were like 9 months old. So they were a little traumatized. So they're still not quite socialized as much, even though we've had them for 2 years now. So my first rabbit would come up and like sit right next to me and nuzzle my ear and just I could pet her. She was like a cat, like literally she was so sweet. Unfortunately, she didn't live very long because rabbits are such delicate animals, and there were things we didn't know, like we didn't realize we needed to get her spayed for her health, even though she wasn't interacting with babies. And so she passed away at 3 years old.
Oh,
it was really sad. It was hard. But so we adopted these ladies, and so it's been quite a job working to earn their trust. But now they'll come up to me and like give me little nose boops, but they're still not as social as my other rabbit. But they definitely are lovey. They just need a little more space, and every rabbit is different for sure, but they all have their own fun personalities, just like any pet. And these two, unfortunately, we have to keep them separate. Yeah, we wanted to get shelter told us they were a bonded pair, but they were wrong. We got them fighting.
No.
And when rabbits fight, it's vicious. So I can kind of get the bunny horror thing. They do this thing called a bunny tornado, and they like drew blood.
Ooh.
They would have killed each other if we hadn't stopped them. It was bonkers. It was like, so yeah, they like each other through the pen bars. Like they'll lay next to each other and kind of groom each other through the pen bars. But if we let them out, they won't try to kill each other anymore, but they'll like nip at each other. So we just don't.
So speaking of bunnies, speaking of bunnies and blood, have y'all ever seen like white rabbits eat berries? Have you seen the YouTube videos of the rabbits eating berries? And it looks like blood just dripping down their faces.
It reminds me of the book Bunicula, the vampire rabbit.
I love Bunicula.
Have you read that?
Yes.
Yeah. Bunicula and the celery stalks at midnight.
Oh.
So interesting. There was a comment. I'm going back to a couple of the comments. First of all, Johnny said that Kelly is a rabbit wrangler. I love that. And then Karen, Lauren's mother, said that she had a rabbit and it kicked her in the stomach and left a scar. So I'm assuming, and I mean, we know that rabbits have claws and they're those claws are designed for digging and everything. So, but oh wow, we always think of little bitty precious bunnies, and we just want to like,
Aww.
Little bitty precious bunnies.
Little bitty precious bunnies.
Well, but if you think about it, their back legs like are really strong. So
yeah.
Don't mess with bunnies. I think that's kind of the point of this whole episode, right?
Exactly.
I just go back to Donnie Darko. Don't taunt the bunny.
That was actually one of the more horrific bunnies. I mean, I thought the one from the Twilight Zone was frightening as it is, but Frank from Donnie Darko, and yeah, he was creepy. Now, I want to mention here, it's not a horror movie, but I kind of feel like all of this kind of transitioned from Harvey. Has anybody ever seen it's I think it's like 1956, Jimmy Stewart, and Harvey was a puka. Did I say that correct?
Say I told you so.
I agree. Entirely agree. Has to be a puka. Has to be.
Actually, I think it says in the book that it might have actually said in the movie he's a puka, and a puka is generally not a benevolent spirit. They're not friendly at all. So the idea that this was a comedy, I mean, it was a great movie, and I love the stage production. Anytime I can go see this, I love this movie. But I mean, that is kind of, I think that's kind of where some of this might have started too. So giant,
generally speaking, anytime that you're looking at some sort of fey creature that involves a Celtic culture, whether it's Irish or Scottish, it's not a happy thing. Like, you don't want to go near it. You don't want to make deals with it. You don't want to even notice it. So if you see it, you just sort of turn and walk the other way as if you didn't. But yeah, and a puka is the same way. If you see it out on the moors, you leave it alone. So the idea that the whole movie he'd be purposefully talking with the thing as if it's his best friend is just, that's not going to end well.
I love that she's so horrified by it.
No. Off topic, it goes back to when my children watched the Disney movie Brave, with Merida, right?
Yeah.
She goes wandering off into the woods following wisps. Right. My mom had a fit. My mom says to me, "Oh, for the love of God, don't let the children go following wisps off into the..." No, tell them don't ever follow a wisp into the woods. It's not a good thing. Why are you putting this in a movie? Don't let the children follow wisps. So no, it's serious. You joke about it, but seriously, Celtic people don't take that. No, they don't. They say, no, don't follow the wisps. No, don't follow the puka, nor the sealy. Just leave them alone.
Speaking of people walking into the woods, in Beaster Day, I have never seen so many half-dressed people go rock climbing or running through the woods in my entire life. And the way that they did the monster in this, y'all remember the Power Rangers old school where it was like the guy obviously in a suit and like the town? It was like that, except for they had like a doll that they were like clay animationing to be the big, huge rabbit, and all of these all of them like females too, maybe like two guys, I don't know, just wandering through the woods with barely anything on, and the way that they killed them in the movies was so bad. It was green screened, so it'd be like, here's the person's body, except we green screened out their legs and we just like splattered a bunch of red stuff on the screen. Here, that's blood.
Well, and there's all the marinara in the state.
We know they did in Bunny Man.
Use marinara sauce.
But I think a lot of the imagery that we see now with bunny rabbits in either horror or suspenseful, like for instance, The Witch. I absolutely love that movie. But there's a scene that seems innocent enough where the little boy Caleb goes following a brown hare into the woods. Basically, he is chasing this rabbit. He is going to kill this rabbit. And then the next thing you know, he ends up at the witch's house, and then he is sick and he is dying. So there's a lot of omens that seem to go alongside, that coincide with rabbits. And
Alice in Wonderland's a good example of that.
Yeah,
exactly. It depends on which.
Sorry, one of my absolute favorite movies is actually a Czech movie that's simply called Alice. And it's the story of Alice in Wonderland, but if it were in a horrible acid trip. Everything in it is, it's not claymation, but it's stop motion animation. And the way that they animate things and the storyline of it, Alice in Wonderland, if you read the book, it's already fairly twisted and dark to begin with.
Yes.
But if you go and see what happens when seen through the filter of a Czech Republic idea, it becomes even darker, even more creepy. And you're never sure if the White Rabbit is actually helping or if he's trying to send her down the pathway towards getting her head chopped off. And he seems to be going either way, depending upon the moment. So it's going back to the concept of the bunny being not so benevolent. It's almost like he is, like in The Witch, the Queen of Hearts familiar in a way.
Well,
that's a cool way to think of it.
I was going to say, I know that there are a lot of ladies out there that would probably claim a rabbit as their familiar. And I mean, they are kind of sneaky. They're lovely. They're soft. They're fluffy. They're everything that a woman would want to be or want to have as a familiar. It's like, here's this sweet little bunny. It's going to bite you.
I would totally have a rabbit as a familiar. Obviously.
Mine happens to be a dog that thinks he's a rabbit.
So speaking of things rabbits are, what about Lucky? Because everyone always has the lucky rabbit's foot kind of thing.
Does that really mean it's lucky? Think about it.
Rabbit.
Now, interestingly enough, I read somewhere along the way that to be considered a lucky rabbit's foot, it has to be taken from the rabbit in a graveyard during a full moon, and it has to be a specific rabbit.
Huh.
It's very good, eh?
Well, it makes you wonder.
I might have got that from
they sell those at gift shops as a kid. You would always see those lucky rabbit's feet everywhere as little tokens dyed different colors. So
I was so looking for one. It's like I wanted one for this show, and then I didn't because I knew
Yeah.
some poor little three-legged bunny was hopping around.
I don't think they still sell those. It's, you know, you think about it, it's like children's taxidermy. It's not, you know, back when kids used to collect those as little lucky trinkets. But I mean, you think about it, that's kind of like the junior taxidermy as a child, is your little rabbit's foot hanging on your keys.
Okay, I am not going to get any fans for this, but Kat, I think you and I had kind of talked about there's a event in maybe Little Rock that's like oddities and curiosities.
Curiosities, yes.
Yes, I think they're doing a rabbit taxidermy class.
Oh wow, we should go.
I think we should. I know Lauren's about to cry.
I don't like the rabbit's feet. I like the rabbit.
If it's dying from natural causes and, you know, you just want to preserve the fur and, you know, the integrity of what the rabbit once was, and you're giving it a new life all into its own forever on your wall with the pet cemetery you have, you know, in your bedroom hanging up, collected on the wall. It's okay. Not, you know, you're not doing it out of sport. You're just doing it as maintaining the fur.
I'm making a jackalope.
That would be a good one. That would be a really good with the antlers on it. We should do it. We should do it.
I really want to. We'll discuss that later. So let's take some questions. Let's take some comments because some of these are really interesting. So yeah, this is the one that caught my attention. Eli Cash, old medieval artwork almost always have rabbits with swords. Then you got rabbits carrying out a coffin in the original Pinocchio. Okay, now I'm going to have to go reread Pinocchio because that is interesting.
There is a holy book called the Book of Kells, if you ever heard of it or seen it. The Book of Kells is an illuminated manuscript, a religious text that was done in a monastery in Ireland. And you could tell the monks were getting really bored because some of the various and sundry pictures that you see in the margins and at the tops and bottoms of the pages, or even at the beginning of like the largest letter of the first paragraph of the page, has got bunnies of all sorts, bunnies dancing, bunnies dressed as lords and ladies, bunnies sword fighting, bunnies riding snails. That's probably my favorite one. There's one in a book, I can't remember the book of it, but it was a medieval manuscript that had bunnies in armor jousting on giant snails as their mounts.
Oh my gosh.
Very
I think
quiet.
they use bunnies for it's kind of like a translation of the sign of fertility, just because of how they procreate. And I think that's probably why you see a lot of bunnies as the Easter bunny. It's just something I think religion kind of sees it as, not as purity, but it's just as the sign of rejuvenation of life.
And also, it's the irony of it. It's the irony of seeing a cute little hare that's sitting there with a sword ready to chop someone in half. Amongst had a sense of humor. I mean, that's once again a whole other show.
I feel like there are a lot of shows with this group in a lot of very unusual topics. So,
oh yeah.
So one of the things before we went, because we are getting to the top of the hour very quickly, and one of the things that I wanted to just kind of touch on, I know that everybody has fun little horror rabbit things that they have found that they want to share. Lauren is obviously like raising her hand going, me first, me first, me first. Please, I want to see creepy bunnies.
This is actually my daughter's. I think my mother got it for her, but it's so cute. Isn't he so cute?
Be very, very quiet.
Oh
I'm
my
hunting rabbits.
I love it. So I have
oh, go ahead.
I have The Exorcist.
Oh my gosh. Is that a Living Dead doll?
But technically, yes.
I was going to say it's head
so, she is a Living Dead doll mini. I don't have the full size, but I do have the little tiny one. And originally, she had a noose around her neck, so she hung. But I have a wee one, my daughter, my little gothling, and she got hold of the bunny and lost the noose. So now it has a little Barbie hair tie instead.
My question is, has she been putting the noose around her finger? Because that's what mine would do.
Actually, I think she used it to hang her Barbies.
Fair. It's quite
okay.
That's how I
love
played
her
with
already.
Barbies. I love that it's called the Exorcist. You pronounce
Exactly.
the Exorcist.
Exorcist. Egg-E-G-G. Exorcist.
Okay. Somebody mentioned these, and I think it might have been Kat. And I happened to find two on my refrigerator. My where's my camera? Happy Bunny. Oh my gosh, I love these things. You smell like duty.
One's picking its nose.
I know. Wyatt, is it picking? Yeah. And
Looks
then
like
run
it's
along and run. Where's my camera? Run along and die now. I have a camera.
There it is.
I love these.
But it's
Somewhere
like, they look like Valentine's cards. They look like Valentine's, the little kid cards that they give out for Valentine's Day.
They're so cute.
Somewhere I have a t-shirt that's one of those bunnies that says cute but psycho.
I actually have a t-shirt that says cute but psycho, but it doesn't have the bunnies on it. And then I have a picture of me wielding a machete in a cabin with Mr. Fish and Daryl running from me. It's quite it's one of my favorite pictures ever.
We need to
guys. Okay, so I did a little digging before. We're going to get to some, I want to go through and answer some of these or talk about some of these comments too, because it looks like we have a lot of comments. But I dug these out, and I don't know if anybody has ever seen these before, but it's where's my camera? Bunny suicides? Return of the bunny suicides. These things are so wrong. Can you it's like the bunny blowing up the Leaning Tower
Towards himself.
Towards himself, yes.
Because of course.
Okay, fine. These things kept me entertained so much. I love these things. I completely forgot these existed. I am so happy we did this show just so I could go dig out my bunny suicides. All right, so let's go to some questions. Willow says she has a pair of Happy Bunny socks that are fun to wear to work. Of course. When you have to hide your weird. Do you have to hide your weird, Willow? I hope not. Wilson reminds me of Happy Tree Friends.
That sounds very familiar, and I'm not
Why
placing
do
it.
Happy Tree Friends.
Wilson, comment again. We need to know what Happy Tree Friends are. Send a picture. Can you? Eli encountered poltergeist activity involving a stuffed toy at Goodwill once. Was it a rabbit?
Did you buy it? Did you take it home?
Oh,
We need to
please.
know if it kept going on.
Happy tree friends. Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah.
Yay, Google.
Yay, Google.
Did Eli come back
don't
with
know.
the toy?
No, but I do believe
need to
that
know.
Wilson. Was that the Happy Bunny or the Happy Tree Friends?
Yeah.
Lauren just had that. Okay. Willow said, "Hi, ladies. Hello.
Hi, Willow.
So yeah.
And silence falls
He said
across
no
the
and
land.
no. Yeah, it's that point during the day. No and no. Oh, you did.
You could at least. Well, you could buy it and take it to somebody's house you don't like. I mean, next time. Just saying.
I like the way you
leave
think.
it on the front doorstep and watch the fun begin.
Try to think of someone everyone universally dislikes and be like, oh, here, give it to this person.
Gift them. I got you a gift.
I'm no longer accepting gifts. At least not from you ladies. Okay. Okay. So basically, I think we're pretty much at the end of our show this evening. And I wanted to say, first of all, thank you to Kelly for joining us. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
Yes,
thanks.
thank you, Kelly.
Thanks for having me.
You're anytime. And I wanted to just take a quick moment to say thank you to a couple of our sponsors. First of all, Knight and Tales, which is the Decoverse Volume 1. And I have a quick synopsis. Bear with me. I should have. In the final days of World War II, Adolf Hitler made a pact with Dracula to create an army of vampire Nazis. Only the combined might of the Earth's hero can save the planet from an apocalyptic nightmare. Join Blue Phantom, Maxwell Marvel, Coda the Black Lion, and assembled heroes of the Decoverse for the first two-fisted showdown of epic proportions. So go and find that today. That is written by our host, John Pica. I also want to say thank you so much to Toy Robot Visual Arts for the lovely intro video, the promo photos that he did for us. And I also want to say thank you to John Pica and the crew at Back of the Cereal Box for allowing us to take over about an hour of your Sunday evenings, which we will be doing twice a month, every second and fourth Sunday. Our next upcoming show, there you go. Our next upcoming show is going to be Divine Horror. You are not going to want to miss this one. We have a special guest who is a Wiccan priestess who is going to help us decipher some of the glorious imagery that we get with basically religious horror, and there's a lot of it. So that's it for tonight's episode. And if you are go ahead.
I'm sorry, if you were vaguely entertained by this hot mess, be sure to follow us on whatever platform you're watching it from. Share with your favorite creepers.
I do feel like it was a hot mess.
But it was a fun hot mess.
It's okay.
It was.
First show.
This is honestly chaos at its finest right here. So join us next time. Our next show is going to be April the, anybody got a date? 25th? Sometime. We'll let you know. Until then, 25th. Pleasant screams and goodbye.
Bye, guys.